gonna dig in there. I'm building a mid-market / enterprise sales team at Splash, so I'm about to ask a bunch of selfish questions. Sure. Hopefully it'll be beneficial for some people. I was really interested in Influitive. Great business, great mission, great model, and you build a really interesting company there. You had a mid-market team and an enterprise team.
Yep.
Tell me about that. Like, what came first? How did you figure it out? And then once you started to have both, how do you segment between what is mid-market, what is enterprise? Did you move people from one to the other? If you could just talk about that,
yep.
It's really interesting to me.
So when I joined, we had 2 AEs. They were, they covered the whole world, so they were kind of doing anything. And so they weren't mid-market or enterprise. I mean, their profile was more of a mid-market AE, but they were taking whatever was coming in inbound at the time, right? Because it was pretty early those days. So they had just split the country essentially in half.
They were in office, or
they were in the office though. Mm-hmm. They were in the office. So their profile was more of a mid-market rep. And the deals that we were doing at the time were like 20, 30K. Right? So they were kind of that traditional inside size.
Talk about quickly what Influitive was. What were you selling?
So we were selling advocate marketing software to marketers at companies to help build like referral networks and get more reviews and social tweets and stuff like that from your advocates. And so what happened was, so we were really lucky that we were all inbound for a while, because we had developed a whole bunch of really interesting thought leadership right around advocacy. It was kind of a new concept, so it was a lot of thought leadership, and so we got a lot of inbound on our content. We did the typical HubSpot, kind of inbound content model. And so they were just fielding. I had 2 SDRs who were qualifying, and then they were passing it to the 2 AEs. And what started to happen was we started to get inbounds from HP and Salesforce and Oracle, and really large companies. And when we started to be able to sell divisions of those companies through the inside team. And so then we're doing 40K deals and 50K deals, but with divisions of Salesforce, HP. After like 2 or 3 divisions of each, it became pretty clear that the reps were good at taking down each division, because selling to a division of Salesforce is really no different than selling to a mid-market company. But we wanted to have a relationship at the most senior levels at Salesforce and try to combine, a bunch of these deals into something that was more strategic. And we wanted the HP, and then we were like, hey, listen, if we can sell to HP, Salesforce, IBM, let's go try to sell to CA, and let's go try to sell to Cisco and whoever. So I started hiring. I hired 2 enterprise, one in the West and one in the East, to manage those accounts. And they were 5,000 and up. Like employee size, I did it by employee size. So they were 5,000 up. I obviously grew the commercial team at the same time, and the commercial team it started with 0 to 5,000. There's a really big difference between a 50-person company and a 5,000-person company, and so I ended up actually creating a layer in between, which I called mid-enterprise for lack of a better term. Made it up. But they were doing 500 to 5,000, and then the SMB team, I guess, was doing 0 to 500.
Okay, and so now you have these enterprise guys coming in, going for the 5,000 and above companies, but were they still doing the same, let's get a couple divisions on at a time, or were they able to get a top-level contract from the beginning, both?
Yeah, not from the beginning. I don't know. Personally, I think the days of massive deals, top down, $1 million deals are dwindling. And I think land and expand, especially for young companies, just makes way more sense. And so no, so they were still doing division by division, but they had the skill set to leverage that. And in a way the inside guys couldn't, right? They had a skill set to connect the dots, right, and build the relationships and have that internal selling happen without them, right? So they would get a guy from this division to go talk to the guy from this division and broker a deal without even them being involved. kind of brilliant, right? They would really build up advocates inside each division and leverage that, and they knew the players, and they knew who had relationships with who, and they knew this person in that division would be helpful over there because they were buddies with this guy over there, which is something, all that kind of politics and that complexity of, all those people involved is something that's harder for someone earlier in their sales career to do, right?
They would have account managers also, like the enterprise guys. Would they be their own account managers, or they would also have
We had paired account managers with the enterprise reps.
What's the division of labor there?
So account managers are responsible for like onboarding, best practices, getting them successful. Also, mostly manage the relationship with the user versus the salesperson managing the relationship with the buyer, right? Because the buyer and the user are not the same people, and your CS team definitely needs to be working with the user, right? And getting them successful and happy. And the problem is if you don't, I believe if you don't have sales involved and you only have CS involved post-sale, then you lose that tie to the executive sponsor and the buyer, because they're not going to be involved in the day-to-day stuff. They're not going to be involved in the implementation and the best practices. And if you lose that connection, then 6 months later, it's like, why did I buy that? Like, what was that investment for? Like, someone go justify this. Why are they asking me to buy more?
So then the AM would comp on a renewal, and the AE is comped on